traps and emotional landmines that most people, victims and bystanders alike, could barely imagine, let alone withstand, because guilt, in the narcissist's hands, becomes not only a weapon, but an entire operating system, one that hijacks your instincts for empathy, fairness, and self-examination and corrupts them into tools for your own self-destruction. It starts so insidiously that you might not even see it happening. Maybe you make a simple mistake. Maybe you express an ordinary need. Maybe you're just not upbeat enough one day. And suddenly, without warning, the air in the room thickens, the narcissist's mood shifts, and you're put on emotional trial for crimes you don't remember committing. Maybe you disappointed them, didn't support them enough, ruined a special moment by expressing a different opinion, or simply failed to read their mind at the exact right moment. And what follows is a storm of blame shifting, projection, and emotional blackmail so sophisticated it feels almost supernatural. You try to defend yourself, to clarify, to apologize for the imagined slight, in hopes of finding peace, but your words get twisted, your feelings minimized, and somehow the conversation always circles back to your failings. If you really cared, you'd never have done this. After everything I've given you, this is how you treat me. You're so ungrateful, so selfish, so emotionally toxic. Phrases that hit with surgical precision to the part of you that wants to be good, wants to be loved, wants to be seen as kind. And before you know it, you're apologizing not just for what you did, but for who you are, desperate to be forgiven for a wound you never inflicted, desperately trying to fix things by sacrificing more, acquiescing more, giving up your own needs and truth in exchange for fleeting scraps of their approval. The narcissist's genius lies in their ability to sense exactly where your emotional defenses are weakest. Maybe you're a peacemaker. Maybe you're relentlessly self-critical. Maybe you grew up believing that love must be earned at any cost. And from there, they build a hall of mirrors in which every disappointment, every failure, every ordinary human imperfection is reframed as an unforgivable attack on their fragile, grandiose ego. Through relentless cycles of martyrdom, nobody has ever suffered as I have, and you just don't care. Manufactured crises. If you don't do X, I'll be utterly alone, broken, ruined. It'll be your fault. Gaslighting. You're making things up. You're too sensitive. You always twist what I say. Silent treatments. Clearly you need to reflect on your attitude before we talk again. They systematically rewire your capacity for self-trust. What used to be ordinary disagreement or the healthy assertion of boundaries now triggers waves of shame, second-guessing, and compulsive self-blame. And when you try to step back, get perspective, talk to friends, or consider the possibility that you're being unfairly manipulated, the narcissist ups the ante, recruiting allies to shame you, spinning tales about your alleged cruelty, or feigning a wounded innocence so convincing that you begin to question the evidence of your own eyes, the memories of your own heart. All the while, deep inside, a part of you begins to believe that the only way to avoid emotional pain, withdrawal, or outright retaliation is to anticipate, preempt, and repair every perceived slight, over-functioning in the relationship, walking on eggshells, losing yourself in the upkeep of their ever-changing, impossible needs. You work harder to be good, more loving, more forgiving, but the more you give, the less you receive, and the more invisible and guilty you become. Your world shrinks around their moods, your identity erodes, and the guilt that once motivated you to be better becomes the barbed leash that keeps you from ever feeling free, safe, or worthy. Sometimes, in rare moments, you may try to confront the pattern, naming what's happening, but this only triggers the narcissist's nuclear-level defenses. You're accused of being the real manipulator, the abuser, the one who's never satisfied. And this reversal is so disorienting, especially if others have bought into the narcissist's version of events. that you start to doubt your own story, your own right to feel pain, your own grip on reality. The truth is that the narcissist's use of guilt is not just about winning an argument or getting their way. It is about colonizing your inner world, making you the guardian of their emotional state, ensuring that your happiness, self-respect, and even your freedom are always conditional on keeping them content and keeping the peace, even if it destroys you in the process. And this is what makes their guilt manipulation so devastating and so difficult to escape. It doesn't just punish you for defiance or mistakes. It teaches you to punish yourself, to anticipate their every disappointment, to make your life an endless apology in search of a forgiveness that will never truly come. Because the actual point is never your redemption, but your subjugation. Recovery begins the moment you see, with searing clarity, this entire machinery for what it is, not a litany of your failings, but a drama entirely engineered by someone who needs you small, guilty, and apologetic to preserve their sense of control and power. Only then, slowly and painfully, can you begin to untangle your real self from the false self imposed by their manipulation, rebuilding your instincts, learning to trust that sometimes it's not you who is wrong, it's the narrative that was designed to keep you in chains. If you've ever felt crazy, unlovable, or hollowed out by a person who claims to love or value you, listen closely. The truths we're about to reveal won't just help you spot manipulation, they might just save your self-respect, your relationships, and finally, your peace of mind. To truly understand and identify a narcissist's manipulation tactics means stepping into a bewildering psychological funhouse, one where every mirror is warped to flatter them and humiliate you. Every corridor leads back to doubt, and every interaction is booby-trapped with contradictions, half-buried landmines of guilt, shame, seduction, and betrayal. Because manipulation in the hands of a true narcissist is not casual or accidental, but a lifelong art form, honed through desperation for control and underpinned by a complete inability to see anyone else as fully real or significant outside their own insatiable needs. It begins so early, so gently sometimes, that you might dismiss the warnings as quirks, trauma, or even well-meaning intensity. Perhaps that first rush of love bombing, when you're swept onto a pedestal so high it leaves you breathless, drenched in compliments, gifts, and promises, made to believe you're the only one, so uniquely perfect that it almost aches to imagine life without them. Yet this intoxicating adoration is never given freely, but as a kind of emotional loan, and lurking just beneath the haze is a silent contract. You must worship back, comply, become addicted to their validation, or risk losing it all in an instant, because the moment you assert even the mildest independence, or question their intentions, the pedestal tips, and you are plunged into confusion and distress, hit with subtle put-downs, stone-cold silences, or sudden outbursts that seem irrational and leave you scrambling to mend the peace. And here is where the next tactic slides in. Gaslighting, that heart-crushing mind game, designed to make you doubt your own memory, sanity, and even your ability to feel pain. That never happened. You're too sensitive. Everyone agrees with me. You're overreacting. All endless refrains, replayed until eventually the evidence of your own eyes and heart becomes too shaky to trust, and you find yourself apologizing for things you never did, defending decisions you never made, or worse, doubting whether your reality has ever been real. This is not some rare or accidental cruelty, but a repeated strategy, finely tuned to tighten their grip on your mind. For the narcissist depends on your self-doubt to retain the upper hand, never allowing you to grow secure enough to confront or challenge them. But spotting manipulation requires noticing the thousand small cuts as much as the obvious betrayals. The way they undermine your joy. You only got that job because of luck. Isolate you from friends with gossip and lies. Your parents hate me, I'm the only one who cares about you. Or inspire toxic loyalty. No one loves you like I do, but you have to prove you deserve it. So that even as your world shrinks, you cannot help but cling harder to the very person causing you pain, because they've made leaving seem impossible or even dangerous, filling you with fear of abandonment, social ruin, or emotional collapse. The devastating reality comes when you realize how projection, their favorite trick, turns every accusation on its head. When you confront their betrayal, suddenly you are accused of infidelity or dishonesty. When you request compassion, you're told you're selfish or unfeeling, and conversations spiral until you are defending yourself against allegations so bizarre and false that your protest itself becomes further proof in their eyes that you are unstable, deceitful, or unworthy of trust. An excruciating merry-go-round with no escape, designed not to discover truth, but to exhaust you into compliance, silence, or despair. And it gets still worse, because when manipulation faces exposure, some narcissists escalate to triangulation, drawing in friends, colleagues, or family to take their side, spinning stories behind your back until you feel surrounded, doubted, or publicly shamed. A reality where your pain is minimized, your objections dismissed, and even your sanity called into question by people who only ever saw the narcissist's public face, not the private manipulations that left you broken and tongue-tied. Sometimes the narcissist doubles back with hoovering, the sudden return of sweetness, apologies, and grand gestures, all designed to suck you back into the cycle, to dangle hope without ever surrendering true accountability, promising to change, to finally listen, but reverting to abuse the moment your guard is down. Over time, such tactics grind away your confidence, self-worth, and even your memory, planting seeds of self-blame. Maybe I'm too needy, too wounded, too inflexible, too quick to judge. And soon you find yourself making excuses for their cruelty, rationalizing their cheating, or tolerating their rages, all just to avoid the chilling loneliness that freedom and truth sometimes brings. This is the most brutal trap of all, the way narcissistic manipulation breeds not only victims, but self-appointed accomplices, because you were taught to mistake their drama for passion, their jealousy for care, their domination for love, a process that leaves its scars not just in your psyche, but in your future relationships, your ability to trust, and your willingness to ever be fully, unapologetically yourself. So the brutal truth, the one few dare to speak, is that spotting and acknowledging narcissistic manipulation is an act of profound courage that is also excruciatingly painful, because it means peeling away every illusion, enduring the shame of having fallen for lies, and mourning the loss of what you thought was love, friendship, or mentorship. Yet only by confronting this brutal clarity can you begin to see the tactics for what they truly are. Not reflections of your flaws, but proof of someone else's compulsive need to control, diminish, and hollow out every soul that gets too close. And here, education is your shield.